welcome back, vagabonds. I'm glad that you all are here this evening. Just as here this evening. Just as sorry, here this evening. Just as sorry, here this evening. All right, that should be better. Sorry about that. That was me. I had popped that into a web browser to get that link for you all to watch before I actually went live and forgot that I had it open. So it should be good. But anyway, what I was saying is welcome back, vagabonds. I'm glad to hear you and see you. And I'll try not to make this continue to put that on a loop over and over and over again, which is kind of funny. But anyway, had a fantastic week. I hope that you all have been having a pretty darn good week too. See, so like you all like probably already saw like the videos this week. I put out a little bit more videos than I normally do. I put out like the compilation thing on Wednesday. And then yesterday I put out a video from a Lisbon punk rock band called Moderados. They're a pretty cool band that played that I hadn't released any of that video. So I figured I'd put that out there for the people that are interested in some of the music that you might hear. So like you typically hear like about Vado and things like that. So I kind of wanted to show that there's other types of music that is being played in Portugal today. That's maybe a little bit more mainstream. And then today, as I promised, I put out a longer video about learning the Portuguese language in an intensive course up at the university. It's a little more involved, a little bit more higher level content that I think that people could find valuable when moving here to Portugal, because it is important to learn the language. It will enrich your experience being here, and I've kind of discussed that on live videos. It's one thing to just be able to say obrigado, por favor, things like that, just to kind of be a little more polite, but to be able to speak a little bit more of the vocabulary will help you like come off as being a little more polished and being polite, and learning the language also. When people like see you, they're going to know that you're not Portuguese. I do not look like I'm a Portuguese citizen, so they can pick me out and be like, he's not Portuguese. So when they see that I am speaking the language, that they're taken back a little bit and appreciate that I'm trying. And I have a little bit different interactions than I was when I didn't really know many words. So it was a neat video, and hopefully you all enjoy that video too. So yeah, no, you're fine, Bridget. I'm glad that you're here. I just started up, so like if you have any questions, just drop them in the comments section. I'm happy to answer any questions about Portugal. And as I said, like in on Facebook, today I'm going to kind of concentrate on stuff that I've done this week that included eating some street food that was around here, and going to this festival that I went to today. It's like I've been eyeing like one of these street vendors across the river, and I happened to have the opportunity this week to go over there because I was walking back. It was late at night, and I was a little bit hungry. So one of the typical foods that you can get here is a bifana. And if you're unfamiliar with a bifana, it's basically a sandwich. It's like on a nice roll. That's like a bun, about the size of a bun, but it's kind of like a roll. It's got a little bit harder exterior, so it's a little bit chewy, super soft on the inside. But then the meat that they put in there is a pork, and it's usually pretty tender, thin piece of meat. They might like have like multiple slices, and it's quite delicious. And then they'll put like mustard on it. Mustard's the big thing that they're into. But at this street vendor, I had a what they call a super bafana, which if it's super, it's got to be better than a egg. It had bacon, it had cheese, and it had mustard in it. And you could have like then put as much mustard as you wanted on there. But they also had lettuce and carrots and more cheese. So I had that. Absolutely fantastic. It was delicious. The mustard had a nice honey to it, so it was like fresh mustard flavor, and yeah, it was completely fantastic. And now there's a picture of me just eating it and had it in my face. So it's kind of a funny little picture that I put out there. But yeah, so like the weather, it's been a little bit more on the mild side here. It has been around 32 degrees Celsius, and that's right around the 94 degrees Fahrenheit, 94 has been typical. We have had a couple days that were in the 80s, so it's kind of nice to have some cooler temperatures. And then at night, it's been cooling down to like the 60s and lower 60s. So it's nice to have these little cooler temperatures that have been happening this week. So I think it's still going to be like in the 90s for the most part, going through August, and I think in September, like when I was here in September last year, it was like in the 80s. So should be pretty nice going into September. So yeah, no, it has been humid this week, but for the most part, it's not been too humid. And it's been like I think like it's been 20 to 85, 90% humidity. So I think it's been a little bit of range. Some days a little bit drier, and other days not so much. And the days that it is a little more humid, the beginning of the day, like looking out my window, it's completely gray because there's so much humidity in the air. But yeah, so weather's quite decent. Haven't really had to have the mini split on as much either, since it's been a little bit more moderate temperatures. And it has been a little bit too much heat, but not too much to really turn on the AC. Yeah, so like today, I ended up making some new friends and going out to Catagny, which is about 20 minutes to the north west from here. There was a festival that's been going on this week. Wasn't sure what it was going to be like. Looking at the map, it looked like it was just a really small town. They wanted to check it out. We kind of we've met each other once before, but not really didn't really know each other too well. So it's kind of nice. They picked us up in their car and took us out there, and were able to kind of chat each other up and talk and walk around this festival. And this festival is massive. It was huge. From what I saw, there was 3 stages there. As you're walking through there, you have all kinds of different things that you can see. Like when we first got in there, was like a bunch of different cars that they had that for like show. It was like um, like smart cars and uh, Hugos and Hyundais and things. But they were kind of just showing them off and uh, walking through, and ended up walking through a bunch of bikes and looked at a bunch of the e-bikes, and we're kind of pricing those out. It's like it's kind of a little expensive for some of these, but yeah, walked through. They had like a Ferris wheel and like had a little bit of fair type rides over here. And continued through, and then noticed that there was like a food court, and it's all kinds of different foods that they were cooking. They had pastel de natas. And then there was like one of the unique things is that they were making pastel de natas that had fruit inside of there. And some people here would say that they are blasphemy, that these are not natas, and they were a disappointment, but they were a novelty. Won't get those again, but it was at least an experience. Ended up having a different type of pork sandwich. They call it secretos, and basically it's just sliced pork that's on the grill, and pretty tasty too. And continued walking, saw like tractors and different types of building supplies. Ended up walking by all kinds of different animals like you would see at the county fair, and maybe a little bit more unique to this area maybe than the United States. So like there were different kinds of sheep. One that like had like yellow fur. I'll have to post that on Facebook. And I just got back here to, so I haven't like gotten to really be impressed from everything, think everything through. But there were all kinds of different raptors. There was owls. There was buzzards. There were meerkats. They had meerkats there, which was pretty cool. They had little piggies, a llama, horses, and then there was an exotics area where they ended up having like snakes and turtles and what else? There was some fish, just like aquarium type fish, and some birds. So that was pretty cool. And anybody that knows me knows that I absolutely love the reptiles and amphibians. That's totally my jam. It was completely cool. Yeah, there not only were there meerkats, but there was they were kind of like stoats. So there were some other type of weasels that were over there. Oh, and a porcupine. There's a couple porcupines too. So that was kind of neat. And we just kind of walked around and hung out at this thing for a couple hours. The thing is, like, this is something that like people like when we got there, it was kind of like the opening of everything, so it was kind of chill. But we left like I think around 8, so we spent like maybe 4 hours there. But this thing goes on, like the music didn't really even start. This thing goes on until like 5 o'clock in the morning. So they're going to be partying it up until the wee the wee hours of the morning. And there was one place, one of the stages that they did have some music playing, and it was just like traditional music, and they were dancing and having a great time. It was neat to watch them do their thing. So the average type of transportation, I mean, like you can get transportation in any type of way. I mean, you can take like a train, you can take a bus, you can catch an Uber. And I could have taken a bus to this. They have buses that leave at 5 o'clock in the morning to bring you back to Coimbra for this festival. So next year when this goes on, I'm gonna definitely go back there, and it'd be fun to like stay out there until late at night and just kind of see how all this stuff happens. Just really experience it. So what are the other questions here? So people people will typically kind of like start their day around 8 o'clock, and then they have like a couple hours during the day where they might go back home and have like a sorry, it's it says that the connection's unstable. So I don't know if it's airing out or anything for you. I don't know how choppy this is. But yeah. So like, if I want to, I could take a bus. I could take an Uber out there. The hard thing would be to get back maybe. I can take a bus back late at night. It's just catching a taxi or an Uber from these smaller towns is a little more difficult. But yeah, if I had a little more planning, I think that I'd be able to pull that all off. But yeah, it should be fun next year to kind of experience that. And the trains, like I can head west on the train and get to the beach in right around an hour, and Figueira da Foz. There's another castle that's about 30 minutes away that I kind of want to check out, called Montemir Velho. Sorry, my mouth's a little dry. But yeah, it's just a 30-minute train ride away, and I can go up to Porto in about an hour and 50 minutes on the train, and Lisbon about an hour and a half to 2 hours away. Oh, and yeah, I didn't ride any of the rides. Everything was just kind of starting off, so they didn't really have the rides running 100%. But yeah, oh yeah. So like, when do they start their day? Typically, they typically start about 8, and then around noon they'll have like a 2-hour lunch, and then they'll come back and work until about 6, 7, and then call it a day. But students are kind of a little bit different. They never sleep, it seems like. So it's a little bit different through for their typical day. So they would have their school day schedule, but then some nights they might be partying until 7 o'clock in the morning. So like, there's 2 different types of trains here. So there's like the commuter trains that kind of just go from like town to town. Those ones go pretty slow. So like that's kind of why getting from here to Figueira da Foz would be much lower. If it was like one of the faster, the regional trains, the AP trains, we could get there in like, probably 30 minutes, like half the time. But like, I think like catching the fast train to Porto, I think I could get there in 45 minutes. So you can get there like 30 minutes faster. Then I think going down to Lisbon, it's about an hour. It's been a while since I've taken those trains, so not 100% about precise time, but it's approximate around there. And the AP trains, they are much nicer. They have first class and second class. And second class is nice. All the seats, or not all the seats, but all the cars that are there, they have a place where you can charge your phones. First class, I think it's almost every single row has a charger, if not every seat has a charger. So it's way nice for like those trains. So yeah. None of us rode any of the rides, but afterwards we ended up, because they don't live in Coimbra, they live about 15-20 minutes away from here, so they took us the back way to Coimbra, but we did it a side step over to their house. So we popped into their house and they showed us their house, and they have a little quinta, which is a little farm, and have like a bunch of fruit trees and grapes and oranges and pears and apricots, I think, and a persimmon. They have a persimmon tree, and yeah, so it was kind of nice to see how like somebody that's an expat's living in the countryside of Portugal. So it's kind of neat to see a different perspective, because like people that want to expat, there's different types of facilities that you might have as your criteria. Like what I like might not be what you like, but if you are interested in living a more rural life, that is a possibility for you here in Portugal too. So like the cost of a train ride just depends on like where you're going. Typically riding to Figueira da Foz, just to get there is right around €3 a person. I think it's like 270 to be precise. Then to get to like Lisbon, it's I think €25. Then Porto is about 20. And it also depends on how you do it, because there's ways that you can save money on the train. So like if you have the CP app, you'll be able to schedule your trains. So like if you know like next week on such and such day you want to go to Lisbon, you can go there and you can pick the specific train that you want, and you would be able to save some money on that ticket. And some of those tickets you can save up to 50%. So you could save, if the ticket's €25, you could be paying like around €13 on the road. I'm not sure about like students having discounts, but I know that like if you're a senior, you can get half price tickets, and it doesn't matter when you do that. You can just go to the train station and get half price ticket. I think that if you're under the age of 18, you're able to get half price tickets to them, or maybe it's like 30% or something. Anybody that is, like it's still in high school, they're able to get on the train for a cheaper price. And it might be the same for university students. I'm not 100% on that though, because many of the students that are like at Coimbra University, they still live with their parents, so they might travel 30 minutes to the north on the train, or like an hour north to the train on the train to come back and forth. So there might be a discount that they receive. Yeah. So yeah, thank you for these questions. They're quite thoughtful, and I'm glad that I could answer them. But yeah, another thing is like right now it's not student season. Students aren't really here in Coimbra. Right now it is tourist season, and that's not to be confused with duck season and rabbit season. But yeah, so like the people that are here are neither residents or students. So there's a whole lot of tourists that are running around Coimbra. And really, like the whole month of August, really the whole month of August in Europe, not just Portugal, is when people take their vacation. So there's people that are here from like France, Netherlands, just coming down here to enjoy what Portugal has to offer. That's quite a bit. Portugal's pretty amazing. Yeah, so there are mountains here to the east of us. There's the Estrella Mountains range. It's absolutely fantastic out that way. And what else? That's what when we were driving back, I was noticing the forested areas around here. They have these pine trees that make up this forest, and when you look at it, the canopy on there is so dense. Like there's no light that comes through there. I don't know if I've seen a forest that dense, so it's kind of neat to see that. I kind of want to get back into one of those forests and just see what it looks like underneath the canopy. And I'm sure there's nothing that's living on the ground besides the tree, so it's kind of cool. Okay, so I guess it's a little bit choppy. All right. Hopefully things are back to being a little more stable. Maybe just kind of check this out. I'm not sure if that helps anything or not. Just let me know if I'm still being choppy here. I just closed out a couple of different tabs over here to kind of see if I'm just taking up some bandwidth that I wasn't sure about. All right. Yeah, so I don't know if there's any other questions that are out there. I'm sorry about things being choppy. Looks like you might have lost me. So, yeah, sometimes there's technical difficulties out of my ability. So I apologize if it's still choppy. Is it still choppy there, or is it still, or has it gotten better? All right, let me send a message here, just because I'm not sure if it's still choppy. Okay, all right. So it says saying that everything is good now. All right. So I think that I got caught up with all the questions. If if it was choppy and I didn't answer the question or you couldn't hear it, just let me know, or I can repeat the question and I'll try to answer it for you. Um, but yeah, things are hot, and there's still forest fires that are being fought in the mountain ranges, and it's kind of unfortunate, but the bomberos the firefighters are being very busy. But yeah, I think I was maybe when it was choppy. I think I was talking about the canopies. There's a pine forest that we went through. Uh, like it's fantastic to see these trees there because it knocks out all the light from the canopy, like from the canopy, like the pine needles knock out everything. So it's kind of interesting to see. And I'm interested in trying to get into one of these pine forests just see like how things are. Oh yeah, so like yeah, so things are tourist season right now, and I think that like tourist season kind of goes all the way until November, but I think around September, mid-September is basically when students should be coming back. They'll be doing all their activities then, and that will be that'll be a fun time once they're back, and there'll be just a little different type of personality to the city. It's not that like tourist season is bad or anything. It's just different. Um, there'll be much more youth to the city. There'll be much more partying where people are staying out until 5 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, doing kids type things. And like right now, there's not as much activity that's going on late at night. Have I spent a winter in Coimbra yet? No, I have not. I did my scouting trip last year, and I was here at the end of September, and I believe I left on October 24th. Then ended up going to Evra and Lisbon for like a little over a week. So I haven't spent a winter here yet, so I'm not sure how cold things are. People here said that it does get cold, but they said it's not terribly cold. They said like when it gets cold, they basically just leave their house because the houses tend to be colder than it is outside. So kind of like in the summer retains, or it's kind of the opposite of summer. Summer, like these buildings, they're all concrete. They retain the heat, whereas in the winter, the concrete retains the cold and basically is isolated by the cold there. So they all have to kind of learn how to operate the shades to try to optimize the amount of heat here, and open up like the shades early in the morning to get the sunlight in with the windows shut, and try to use like as much of a greenhouse effect to keep things warm. But yeah, all great questions today. I'm not sure if anybody else has any questions, but if you do have any questions, just pop them into the comment section, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have. And also, if like you're still watching this and you have questions, just go ahead and drop a comment into the comment section, and I'll respond back through that way. I'd like to be as helpful as I possibly can. I know that if you have an interest in Portugal or Coimbra in specific, and you're not in Portugal, you might be in the United States, might be something that you want answered, and you don't really have the ability to do that. But since I am here in Portugal, I can answer those questions. And if I don't know it personally, then I can ask somebody that might have a little more experience that's been here longer than I have, to find out what questions you have. But yeah, so health. You can't get much better for healthcare in Coimbra. That's for sure. Gratefully, I haven't had to use any healthcare, but I have friends that have, and this is kind of like you've been popping this out there as a question. So for since this is a college town per se, this is where the brightest in the healthcare industry come to become educated. So the university hospital is the place to go, and it's the top-notch thing. It's kind of, I'm going to sidetrack just for a second to kind of highlight something with healthcare. So when you become like a Portuguese citizen, whether you're born here or you become nationalized through the whole process of residency, you trying to word this properly. You don't opt in for organ donation. You are automatically put on the organ donor list, and the only way to not be part of that is to opt out of it. It's like you might have like some type of religious exemption or something that the reason why like you don't want to do this. But a friend of mine that I've made here from like my scouting trip had a situation where he needed to have an organ, and he's been on the list to have this to be, to get this organ in here. And I'm trying to protect his privacy in this. But so he's been going through this process with the healthcare system. So this is kind of going into your question of how is the healthcare system. And I've discussed how his experience with the healthcare system is, and there's a learning curve for everything, and that includes the healthcare system. And he's had a little bit of understanding that he needed to find out of when does he go to the private healthcare that he's paying for, and when does he go to the public. And he's been here for a while, so he's learned these things of when he needed to go to the public versus the private, and when it's a little more specialized, like having to get an organ, you're going to go to the public system. And it's like he's basically gone to the public system to get the organs, had to go through all these tests, but it's kind of a sad thing and a happy thing at the same time. But last night he was able to be a recipient of an organ, which means that somebody had to die in order for him to have this available to him. He's had he had surgery this morning, and as of right now, he's out of surgery, and things are looking in a positive direction for him. So we'll see how things go on that. But it's quite remarkable to be to look at these things and think that like just 2 weeks ago he was put on the organ donation list, and now he's he's already received this Oregon. In the U.S., this would be possibly like a multi-year situation, and by the time that you're ready for the Oregon, you're probably dead. Yeah, they have specialists here in the U.S. that do these type of things. So these are not just like any doctors. But let me see. Reading your question here, Kim. I do not know about. I don't know enough about the schools for school-aged kids. All I know is like I've passed a couple of the different schools around here. I see some of the kids like in the different process, like during the school day, and I get the little kids, man. They're precious. They're all kind of dressed with like the same colored hat, and they all hold hands whenever they basically walk through like the tourist strand to get from like their school to wherever they need to go through. But like if you're wanting like specifics on like this school is great, this one's not so much, blah blah blah. I can't like answer like questions like that, but I can say that my observations from an outsider looking in, the students here seem to be happy, and I think that's kind of one of the things that should be one of the most important things, because if we're raising happy kids, the community is going to end up being happier. I was just reading a story, or not story, a study talking about percentage of people that are experiencing anger, and Portugal's one of the lowest on the list. So seeing like kind of just how people are really happy, kids are happy, and the way that the students at the university interact with each other, it shows me that people are building a community that is sustainable and continuing to be quite happy. I'm not sure if it's exactly year round. I think that it's like maybe 10 months or so, because like right now it's like their vacation time. August is, so I'm pretty sure that they do not have school now, and I haven't noticed many kids like in the past month. So I'm thinking maybe about 10 months. So it's a significant amount of time throughout the year. But yeah, like it. Yeah, I don't know. Like, so even like if I don't see like these kids, like there's different points in the city. Like you might be eating like up on the top of Avenida Galleria near the Praça da República, and you can just hear them playing. And they're learning stuff, but they're also learning what I think is one of the most important things. They're learning how to interact with one another. And if people are able to interact with each other, they're going to be able to, learn the other things that are important in life for what they are passionate about. The government here is a socialist democracy, so they're definitely much more left-leaning, but they definitely have democracy, and I want to study more about this. I'm not like I don't know like the whole political structure inside and out. Like right now, I've been studying things of that nature. But I'm really interested in learning more about the years coming up to the overthrow of Salazar, because there was a dictatorship here up until the 70s. And then his overthrow ended up becoming a democracy for almost 50 years. But as I said, it's like a socialist democracy. They definitely are more interested in social programs here. They're very much anti-fascist because, they saw what a dictatorship was like here, and they saw what happened happen again. There seemed like there was another thing that I think I hit it about school. I just wish that I could say that more firsthand experience. It's just that the expats that I know here, a majority of them are a little bit older, though I am going to have a coffee with a younger couple on Wednesday. They have a younger child. It's not their son's not school age, but it's something that they would be thinking since they're in that realm of speak. Okay, well, I'm glad that you asked that question about is Coimbra a clean city, because I'm going to do a little more about that. Overall, Coimbra is a pretty clean city, though. One of the things, a group that's called the Knights of Coimbra, and every other month we can go into a different area and just kind of clean up. There might be trash. Like back in May, the students had their, I think you might have seen that video where they had their floats that they took there. So like at the end of all that, like their floats are put into this big field, and they're just everywhere, and they come and pick up all the paper and such. They kind of take out the woods that's in the float, but there's a lot of debris that need to be picked up for that. Then for the celebration of Isabella, Santareno, Isabella, they had like a fair here, and it was beautiful. But they have been fair. There's going to be debris that needs to be cleaned up, and one of the things that I noticed is that about it, and step on it and continue walking on their way. But yeah, I did a little video on that, and I'll probably have that come out this week. I just need to edit. Working with another guy, he's a Portuguese citizen. He's kind of wanting to highlight this too, to kind of just bring attention to cleaning up after yourself, and that there's other people that are doing stuff like this, just cleaning up after you, Portuguese citizens, but just kind of highlighting that that we are members of this community, and that we're cleaning up. So like we're trying to do some nice things. But I'm not like in this video, I'm not really trying to. I'm trying to like just touch a little bit on that, but I'm more interested in sparking the passion within people that are watching my videos, because like it's one thing that I'm doing something that's nice and doing something that's improving my community, but it's equally important to me, to your life. So it's like if there's something that you want done, just go out and do it. If you want people to start doing something that you want to get done, then set up and start doing it, and people end up coming. Um, composting is a difficult thing that does composting, and it's so like I haven't been doing much composting. They do recycling that are for specific types of material. So you might have like glass and metal, and then like another one's for paper, and another one is for plastics. So yeah, it's kind of neat. And typically they're not too far away to get to these areas. And this is another video that I want to do. I haven't done any of the recording for it or really written out a script, but one of the things that I want to do is like top 5 things that I've noticed when coming to Portugal. And one of them is the amount of trash that I create. I'd say maybe like every other day I create like a bag of trash. And when I say like a bag, it's only like, yay big. It's basically like a store from the fruit aisle. So it's like, what would that be? That'd be about like 3 or 4 of those bags each week. So it's very minute in comparison, because I'd have like a garbage bag of trash that I'd put out every week, or like I'd fill up a dumpster every week, and it'd be overflowing, like some weeks even more. Granted, I was doing some construction work, but still, like the amount of waste that I was creating in the US was ridiculous. I'm not sure if I'm lagging again. It looks like it's saying that I'm unstable. But the amount of recycling that goes here is nice to see. And sometimes, like when I go to the trash can, I do notice that it's kind of neat, because like every night the trash can gets picked up in my area, and it's not like how it unites that you have a trash can for every house. It's just like, this is the neighborhood trash can, like on this block, and the next block there's another one. So like when they come through, like everybody that has their trash is already throwing it in there. It helps keep some of the trash that might just be thrown on the sidewalk. It ends up getting picked up. And one of the things also is like they do have crews that run around, like the Baja that end up picking up trash. So like there's like a little electric that it's pretty cute. It's a little bit bigger than a golf cart, but has like it's almost like a mini dump truck looking thing. So it's kind of neat. So like there's somebody that will be throwing like the different trash that's being accumulated in the that's kind of neat. So like there's somebody that will be throwing like the different trash that's being accumulated in the streets trash, the restaurant where they put it outside, that they pick it up and toss it in there, but they have little tong things that they pick up some of the trash too. So they do, I think that they do a really good job. And the other thing is like some of the restaurants, they have outside seating. The first thing in the morning, I don't know if it's like every morning, but they wash down the streets and that landing spot. Like my thing is that I am the atypical vagabond, so I am the vagabond